Good evening, this is Ryan Mallory for SharePlanner.com. Today is April 18th, 2012, doing a market wrap-up. Let's go first things first. Let's look at SPY. You'll see here that it's been on this unmitigated uptrend since the October lows were made, and it's only been in the last, I guess you could say the last week or two, that we broke this trend line and we've held it. We haven't gone back above it, which is very telling about the strength that the bears are trying to exert on this market. And what was once support for this market time and time again has now become resistance. So you can see here where we've tested on two different occasions, and on both occasions the market was unable to break back above the trend line and continue its upward motion. That doesn't mean going forward that it can't ultimately do that, but at this point you have to have a bearish perspective on this market. So what do we have here? We have a bearish flag, the exact opposite of a bull flag, where you have a strong move to the downside followed by sideways price consolidation. So the next logical step would be for the price to come back down to this support line, test it, and then move lower. The other thing that a lot of bears are looking at here is this head and shoulders pattern that is emerging. So this is very important to keep an eye on. And I'll be honest, I mean, I'm probably paying more attention to this bear flag here, but the head and shoulders is pretty important too, because right now you got a left shoulder ahead, and now you're trying to form the right shoulder, and you got the right shoulder being formed on the upside. Now it just needs to come back down and move lower. You have a neckline, which helps you to confirm when the pattern has completed itself, and anything below, let's say about 136.33 would confirm the head and shoulders pattern. And then the next question becomes, well, where does this pattern play out to? And the logical spot would be first a test at about 133.75, 134, and then if it breaks through that support level, then you also have additional support sitting around the 130 level. So this market could get very ugly very quick, and the reason why this head and shoulders pattern should be closely watched is because going back to last year, and of course this head and shoulders pattern is much longer and much drawn out, but you can see here left shoulder, head, right shoulder, and then the big push lower. So that's what we're possibly looking at here with this miniaturized version of that same head and shoulders pattern. Alright, let's look at a couple of other stocks here. I was pretty busy trading today. I tried to get into RENN. Let me pull up that chart. Here we go. This was a day trade that really just did not pan out for me. I could have probably been a little bit more patient, but you had this inverse head and shoulders pattern here. You had the pullback to support level, this being the support level here, and nice little doji candle. I got in around 687, and I think I got out at about 691, 92, somewhere around there. But in any case, it just really didn't work out today. I thought this one might explode higher, but like what typically happens in trading, anything can happen. So this one did not play out like I expected to, but I had the stop losses in place to keep a trade from going bad. In fact, I actually made a 0.5% profit on it, so I didn't do too bad. I think I got right out where it closed at. And then I also loaded up on some short positions today as well. BAK. Let's pull up the chart on this one. And right here, and you can find this in our chat room too, I post all my charts that I speak of during the day that I alert people in our chat room to, and you can see exactly what my annotations are on the charts. The green line representing target prices, blue lines representing entry prices, and then you'll also see at times or usually most of the time, a red line representing the stop loss. So This is a great feature about this Trader OS platform that I am using. The real-time collaboration, the ability to share charts, to share annotations, to show trade setups, to show transparency among traders is just unmatched with any other trading platform. So BAK, I posted this one early this morning. I got in at 16.25, closes at 16.20. I liked it. It had a little bit of news that came out today, but it wasn't very significant, but it did cause it to rally right into this downward channel. So trying to take advantage of it hitting some resistance there. I got in at 16.25, was able to put a tight stop loss of in the 1640, so I'm not going to lose much if it does go against me, less than 1%. And then I can have a possible gain all the way down to this lower channel before I have to take profits. So 14s is very possible for this stock, if particularly if the market starts pushing back lower again. So that's one. Another one that I am in. ABD, head and shoulders pattern. Love this one. You can see here the neckline got broken today. Intraday, the only thing that bothers me about this is that it did not close below this neckline. So when I got into it at 11.17, it was below it. A little bit of intraday strength that would help this thing pop and stay higher than where I got in at. And a couple others we can look at. I actually like this OPK chart quite a bit because the only reason why I did not short this thing, if it would have been, a few bucks more, I would have shorted it. Because it was under $5, it's just too much risk holding overnight. Simple news piece can take this thing up, $3 or $4, and then I am bleeding through the nose on that one. And I don't want that to happen, so I passed it. Despite as tempting as it was, I just didn't take it. But what you have here is there's really nothing of note of this chart pattern up here. What really draws me to it is the resistance level overhead. I mean, time and time again, this thing has bounced off of this price level here at around 475, and then finally it broke through it, just recently, and then with the rally over the past 3 days, puts it right back up at resistance. I mean, this is like textbook short signal right here. Once again, too cheap for me to short it, but I know there's a few of you guys out there that are brave enough to short these kinds of stocks, and that's why I put it out there for different trading styles, different strokes for different folks. And then let me see if I can find the chart on Apple here. Let's look at GMCR first. There's some appeal with GMCR. You can see when I talked about that, this was actually 2 days ago that I spoke about this being a short setup. And the reason why, I mean, look at this thing. It's got this island reversal pattern. I'll zoom out a little bit so you can see the bigger picture on it. Island reversal pattern, huge sell-off, breaks below this key support level right here, and then, sort of like OPK, it rallies right back into that support level there, or into that resistance. So what does it look like since then? And this is what's really cool about Trader OS. You can see how my pick played out. Drum roll, please. Just by going up to real time, you just click on load the bars. Boom. You can see it actually went right up into that, right above it, and it looked like it was going to break out, but then again today you got this bearish kicker action here, and broke out of the bear flag pattern. It actually never broke out to it to the upside. It pretty much stayed right within it, but today as this pattern narrowed, it finally did have enough mojo to get out of the bear flag pattern. So would not be long GMCR at all. I would be short. CAG is another one that I've got into recently. You can see here, really not doing what I want it to do quite yet, but it hasn't taken me out of the trade. I'm just a little bit underwater on this one, but I'm pretty pumped about it though, nonetheless. You can see it's just gone a little bit higher than where I'd really like for it to be. I got in at 25.85, so less than 1% in the red on this trade. Apple, this is the one I wanted to check out. And this one has similar action to what we're seeing in the S&P right now. You got this huge trend line going up, breaks through, I mean, just crushes the longs here. Takes about 10% of its market value out, and So I basically said this thing's probably got some more downside involved to it. Whoops, did not mean to do that. I meant to load the bars. So see what it's done here. It actually rallied back up yesterday, and that's why I said it's sort of doing what the S&P did with yesterday's rally and today's slight sell-off. It's finding resistance on the underside of the trend line that it rode up for so long. So ideally, I'm not a big fan of shorting Apple just because, it's one of the most hyped companies, and for good reasons. It's a great company, probably the best company out there from a cash flow and a balance sheet standpoint, and from a product standpoint, they're just really unmatched in competition. So I don't really try to short these kinds of companies. I mean, I think there's plenty of stocks out there that are bad companies that have bad charts, and why not focus on those? So Apple here is finding resistance, and I would still say the downside is what is likely to happen in the days and weeks ahead. Let's look at one stock that really did not play out well for me. I shorted this one, and yesterday's rally just knocked me right out of it here. So you got DOW. I shorted this thing right as it was getting into resistance. I felt like there was enough resistance to keep this thing from going against me. I had two target prices that I was watching, but when you load the bars real time, you'll see, boom, took me right out of my stop loss yesterday. So I got out at 34.32. Wasn't a bad loss at all. I mean, you're talking about probably about a 3% loss, which is within my range of tolerance. But overall, you get a little bit of an idea for what TraderOS is all about, the platform that I'm now using, and what this market's doing. I think that earnings is going to play a big role into it. You got some Spanish bonds auctions tomorrow that's going to be important, and you can see that there is a slight shift moving back towards, okay, what's going on with some of these other companies, or other countries in Europe that we had basically ignored for the last 4 or 5 months, and what's going to be of them? You have Portugal, you have Spain, you have people talk about France, people talk about basically the entire European Union. So just because Greece was saved, you have Italy, and ultimately I don't think Greece is going to be saved. It was basically a band-aid on something that needs to be amputated. But overall, I think in the days and weeks ahead, I think you'll probably continue to see that shift back into the, as earnings season starts to fade, and we still have a little while to go, but I do think you're going to see the focus start to begin going towards Europe again, the state of their countries, and who's going to get bailed out next. Alright, that's going to do it for me. If you have any questions, I'll be in the chat room all day tomorrow, so feel free to hit me up there, or you can email me at ryan@shareplanner.com. And as always, be active in the chat room, post questions, post charts, post your trades, and it'll make the ability to trade successfully for everybody that much easier. So y'all take care and have a great evening. God bless.